Someone's typing is coming across.
Might be Fishbine.
I just took care. Go right ahead, Rich. I'm muting all the mics. The typing is gone.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I should start or not. Well, yeah, thank you. Um, thank you for having me. This is really, really, truly an honor. Um, and thank you for letting me know how to pronounce that French phrase, which I saw you typed out. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it again, but it's needless to say, how I thought it was pronounced was completely wrong. I was pronouncing it wrong all the time. So as you mentioned, I have a book out from front to back, and it's basically just like a chronicle from when my wife Allie was pregnant with my eldest daughter, Harper. Um, chronicles that time until Harper's about 2 years old. I wrote the words. I came up with the title. My daughter, Harper, she actually did the cover as well. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I'll just jump right in. Get some of the other lovely and talented people. Um, so yeah, so the first poem I'll start with is called Shower. All right, shower. Three bumps bumping around the baby shower, like tortoise shells splotched with blue flowers, lined with horizontal stripes, creeping from place to place as they investigate cupcakes, moseying in and out of the revealed nursery, crawling after crawling, shadows inching across the lawn, and sweating quickly, a trail of dewed grass, the only evidence of a passing shower. This next one is called Beach Day. The bedroom door opened, and my little wife was there with her big bump. She asked from the door frame if she should make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so we don't have to worry about getting bagels at Dunkin' Donuts. We're not getting bagels anymore? I asked. I'm not, she said. Are you asking me this because you don't want my bagel tempting you? Yes, she responded with a kick. Don't kick at me, I said. There was something stuck to my foot, she said. Okay, but I don't want jelly, just peanut butter on mine. And I want it gooey. Lather that shit on, I said, emphasizing each syllable with a clap. At this point, I don't know if you see like the book moving as I'm reading right next to me, and she's just like headbutting the crap out of my hand. So maybe if I just give her a screen time for a second, she'll give me some. That's Gizzy, by the way. She had nothing to do with the book, really. Well, actually, that's not true. She is a subject. She's actually a subject in the next poem. Look at this. What a great segue. Lumps. To us, these things are her siblings, destined for petdom when she's older, modest lumps below and beside her to be flattened by quaky pats. Relish your roundness while you can, cats. That's you. Due date. Sign of the cross. Sorry, the poem is called Due date. Sign of the cross across my waist. checking chalked pockets for the eighth time in case God's hearing aid misses his landline. I remember the moment I thought of that poem. It was we were actually walking in from the car. We parked the car and walking into the hospital before Harper was born. Motivation. My baby's steamy cries claw through the ceiling, pump pistons in the neighbor's creaking bed. Their moist mound leaks sound on my head. Now, this one is called Photo Shoot. The baby photographer strokes her brows, smooths the furrows back into her forehead. We capture the moment for later, when nipples and pacifiers bounce like spent bullets, like rounds that won't fit back into the shrieking gun, and warfare must be met with sculpture. Warp. Suns sink the bedsheet of space, tinker with pace, as proximity to our dense baby burns the day at the peak of dawn, no matter times say, yet the week is too long. New game. And it'll be, I guess, obvious from the poem, or at least I hope it's obvious from the poem. But I make reference to Crash Bandicoot, and Crash Bandicoot was a video game. Okay, so new game. From the black TV screen, Crash Bandicoot observes us pretending to be parents, playing the role like we played his, each inch of progress costing a life, not lost, but spent on learning what's ahead until the level is memorable, stashed away into several substages, pages of button sequences, and the next part is apparent as we near it. Baby description number 42. Let's see. At times, she's a kazoo or a wooden whistle howling through dunes, or an owl. She could snarl like a nut, bubble like a clam, but she always makes sense, babbles with aim no matter what, and is consistently dense, like she's all but. So this next one is called Baby Faces, and it talks about it discusses my grandmother, and I know that we were speaking earlier about um, someone who passed away recently. So I was trying to incorporate some poems in my reading that would maybe also deal with those departed, um, which in this case for me would be my grandmother and my grandfather. Uh, so yeah, so this is the first of a couple of those that I'll read, and this one's called Baby Faces. The angels are talking to her, my grandmother would offer. My wife envisions puffy legs wobbling into a bright walk-in closet, stuffed with every possible expression and embarking on a runway show to surround sound stereo. But I think she's dreaming of boobs. First, kind boobs, doting from a nest of lace. Then, evil boobs, knockers, complete with curled mustaches and monocles that prevent any prospect of nursing. Okay. This next one is called Poodle Waffle Poem. My name is Richard, or Rich. When our dog River was alive, and when my grandpa Sal was also alive, my grandma would call me River Sal Richard, usually when her head was too full of chores to find my name right away. Nobody calls me this mostly wrong name anymore. It's since settled to the bottom of history's change jar with the odd screws of dead languages. However, my mother, who is married to my stepdad, Al, preserves my other moniker, Al Rich. I don't take offense to being called the wrong name. To me, it's funny and comes in handy during small talk. Apparently, it's a relatable anecdote. But what concerns me is how I sometimes call my daughter Harper by my cat's name, Poe, and vice versa. It's just a matter of time until my wife's name, Allie, couples the hyphenated fray. I suppose this is getting older, the mark of an elder, when you start to call people other people's names. I suppose I have no choice but to accept that I'm starting to turn into my River Sal grandma mother. Okay, this next one is called See the Baby. I'd like you to see the baby so that I can see you remember how small your babies once were, how they used to have the same bald spot on the back of their heads, as if hair was making room for a pool, and how my baby's tiny toes were once your baby's tiny toes, and how Alice used to be that small, how James used to be that small. And while you're tumbling in reminiscence, we'll be thinking about how big she's gotten. Yes, small compared to your babies, but big compared to the baby we once knew, who was born blaring with hunger, whose legs once dangled against the blue backdrop of nurses' scrubs, whose knees resembled doughy eyes, clenched as to assist in the maiden wail. But she will soon catch up to your kids when the deep tides of our 30s rise and coat them all evenly, because we won't see them anymore, except in the pulse of everything. This next one's called Baby Proofed. I was smoking a cigar in the garage, watching the rain, when the door opened and my daughter appeared. My wife said she wanted to play outside, and play she did. She splashed in patient pools fitted for her feet that waited until she connected. She rushed through paced drops, spaced far enough so she can see. She tasted on her pink leaf tongue the barbless water of summer. Story of a Bumblebee. Our daughter held up her hands like they were a book and asked us to tell her a story. That evening, my palms opened to the beginning. I agonized over the chaos of the scrawled lines until they began to kick, as if my attention sewn into each the pangs of an endless heartbeat. And before I was ready, letters started to crown, minefields of O's and U's that made me sound like a flat line. Then the freewheeling bipeds tiptoed into town, the scaffolded summits of A's, the white-knuckled crosswalks of H's, the brief, crisscrossing X's that flashed like a camera before a tumble, followed by the obstinate majority, deigning us only a profile view, the B's, C's, and D's, to name a few, whole starry ribbons of perfectly shattered sentences, unfurled across pages curled like two cupped hands, encouraging a bumblebee to linger a bit longer. And final poem I'll read is called Shift. The baby was cranky because she was tired, which indicated to us the end of our shift. So we dismantled our cubicle, folded the chairs, the tent, the blanket, unstaked our umbrella, and yielded the space to the next parents looking to kill time. My wife held the baby while I pulled the wagon, both hands behind me on the handle, making way like Groucho Marx. Except I was concentrating on crossing the lopsided sand without losing a flip-flop, not humorous repartee. If anything, I was, if anything, I more closely resembled my bent grandpa, who is a notorious ground watcher and would look down wherever he went. Even in the early blue morning, when he was the only one out, he looked down all the way to the corner store and all the way back, then looked down at his newspaper when he got home, but looked up when I joined him at the kitchen table in my tidy whities, his black coffee still too hot to sip, to boil off the cold that seeped into him, into his thick hands, which he liked to plop onto my unsuspecting forearm. General housekeeping stuff he liked to get out of the way at the start of his shift. Thank you, everybody.
You still have 5 minutes if you'd like to read a few more. That'd be great. But it's up to you.
Oh, okay.
I can listen all day.
All right. Sure. Because I underestimated how long that would take. Yeah, okay. I'll read a couple. I'll read like a couple more. Thank you. Um, oh, okay. This one seems fitting for today. This is called September 26th. We are going to a mass dedicated to my grandma today, which, my mother reminded me, is the same day my grandpa died 6 years ago, which is also the same day the baby, who routinely wakes up too early, slept until 7:30. I feel my grandparents had a hand in this minor miracle. They would choose today, the corner on which death and memorial meet, to wait like glass figurines for the private cab that will take them down to their family so they can repay the respects paid to them by soothing their great granddaughter for an hour and a half, so her parents can continue to sleep hideously with wide open mouths, unaware their child is hovering next to her crib. This one's called Faraway Harper. My daughter is almost 2, nearly 3 feet tall, but as she wanders toward the meadow's navel, she tries on every length she's ever been, then leaves them behind, rumpled in the grass, like paving stones to the past. Um, and maybe I'll just read one more. This one's called Chris Farley. My daughter's hair is now long enough for her to wake up with bedhead. She'll stand in her crib, ripping and chewing on the side, hungry, it seems, after a night of partying. Her wild hair reminds me of Chris Farley's, whose floppy mane was always in a state of flux, whether he was collapsing through a coffee table or pulverizing a dinner roll for being naughty. I miss that man, just as most of us do. All 300 pratfalling pounds of him have left its mark. But as I write this in the bathroom, the only private place in this house, with my laptop resting on bare thighs, my daughter kamikazes through the door, bent wings jutting from the sides of her head, as if Chris Farley himself egged her on, tousled her hair, and cartwheeled away before anybody could catch him. All right. Thank you.